and welcome to an everyday canines video. In this episode on the Beginner's Agility series, we're going to start the basic foundations of directionals. So let me look at my setup first off. Now, there are a variety of ways to teach directionals that people show. Some people start by turning the dog to turn in a circle left and right. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but in my experience I have found, and it probably depends on the dog, what happens is the dog starts to treat the cue to mean I spin on the spot, and they don't then transfer it correctly to a jump. I had this with Sparrow, so I could say left to Sparrow on a course, meaning turn left over the jump, and what would happen is she'd actually do a left spin and then take the jump. Now, I've never had that with Swift, who was trained the same way, but I had got something similar to that with Magpie. That started to come in with Magpie, so it makes me think that maybe a different way that dogs come here. I know it's there, come here. Made me think that there might be it might be the different way that the dogs' brains are put together. And maybe the sheepdogs, the Shelties and that, they can contextualise better, generalise better, whereas other types of dogs, they really, that was what that word meant and they had trouble moving it on. So I change up how I teach my directionals. Now, I might do this at home, or I might do this on a jump here. Whichever way I do it, I'm going to have two uprights. They could be two cones. And I'm going to have something across the bottom that is safe for my dog if they stand on it, but which does demonstrate that there is going to be a slight jump eventually. So in this instance, I've got my puppy bump back in. I do not need a pole on here because I'm not worrying about height. I'm worrying about the skill of turning in a direction. So we don't need to worry. We don't need them to be thinking about jumping. We want them to concentrate on what we're asking in terms of the direction. I've got my treat and train out here, which is why Magpie is very excited. My treat and train is going to start us off. So it's two things. It's a target and it's the reward. So that is going to help Magpie to turn the correct way initially. So what I want to do is I want, as she's doing, Magpie to go to that treat and train, but through the jump. So I'm just going to let her go and she's going to turn towards it. Good girl, Pie, come here. Now she's doing it, what I would call, hang on, the correct way of doing it, i.e. she's turning with me. So this is your normal turn, she's turning with me. Okay. If we were going off in that direction, I would be moving my body. The next step, come here, is to see if she can do it when I'm not quite so obviously placed. So I'm here now. And look what she did, she ran across there. But we're shaping, so that's okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted, but you need to do it when I'm asking. So again, I want you to be in front of me, my lovely. See, she's trying to go the straight line. Good girl. It's not what I want. So let me get her a bit better position. Yes. So what I did is I just adjusted a little bit so it wasn't quite so obvious the straight line. And what have you? Yes. But can you see that already, to be fair, we've done this work a bit more. Because the target is there, she's just repeating and patterning the behaviour that I wrote to that target. Okay, so I'm just shuffling my position. I'm a bit more confident she's going to take that jump and go to the thing. Pie, pie. So I'm shuffling my position. There. That was a rear cross. That was a rear cross because I was on the wrong side of the dog. Good girl. Now come here. Now at this stage, the dog is just running towards the reward. But now I'm seeing a bit of confidence coming, and she knows what she's doing. I can start adding in the word. So this time when I go, right, right, good girl. I thought she was going to go the wrong side of that jump. Good girl. Okay, this way. Right, right. So I can start adding that cue in. Pie. Right, right. And I'm adding the cue in just a second before she actually goes. Good girl, this way. Right, right. So that it's marking that behaviour. Pie. Right, right. And I'm changing up my position. My position is never the same. Just to help her out. Right, Pie, one more. Right, right. Okay. Now I've done this session on the right. I would do that session on the right on its own. And then on a different session, I would move and do the left. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to confuse it, because This is going to be quite intense brain work, so I don't want to confuse her at this moment. We're doing rights. I'm not going to instantly change and do the lefts, because what will happen is she'll start to get confused. We want to do those separately. And there's an interesting principle in the science of dog training they've recently looked at, and they have found that when teaching things like this, dogs are best if they learn it individually really well before you start putting them together and trying to mix it up like I was doing with Swift. So that's your beginner stages. Really easy. We want to move the dog on pretty quick though, because we don't want them to become dependent on this. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And now we're going to switch to a toy. So we had a great big target there. How do we help her now the target is gone? What I'm going to do, ask her to sit, wait. And I'm going to start her off on my normal turn side, so my body is a little bit helping. If you were a handler to move, you could move with them. Sit, wait. And I'm going to put my toy down there. Right. Oh no, you cheated! And that is what can happen. So this time, I'm going to make sure she can't do that because I'm going to be blocking it. Right. Good girl. So that is something to bear in mind. Once she's getting it so she goes towards the target, I want to see if she actually knows what she's doing. Ready? Right. Yes. So I didn't have the target there, but I wanted to see if she knew what we're doing. Now, you might have to do the toy on the ground a few more times. We have done some work on this, so it's not like it's brand new. So what I would say is we are fixing that pattern, and you're going to take this at the pace your dog needs. Get them on the correct side. Right. Good girl. Now what happens if I change up my position? She was really good when the treat and train was down, but what happens if so I'm not on the wrong side of her yet, but I'm closer behind her. Right. Let's go turn that way. Okay. Right. Yes, good girl. So she made a mistake and we worked through it. That can happen. It's going to happen because your dog is going, well, I got it. I turned right when you were stood that side. No, you're not. We can help her, but making sure her head is facing the right direction to begin with. Yeah, I didn't say it, did I? Right. Good girl. So now I'm behind her and she can do it. The next part, the hard bit, is now the turning away. And this can be quite hard for some dogs because they want to turn with you. So, right. Good girl. Because we've done all that warming up. Good girl. She didn't have any issue. She got, oh, I get it. And this is why we did all that warming up stuff. Now, here's the important thing to remember. They will get good at one side. And then you'll teach the other side. They'll get good at that side. Then you've got to get to the stage when you're going to try and ask for either or in any position. And that's when things can get tricky. So you need to be patient with this. But put in your separate sessions. I'm going to stand back a bit more. Okay, you ready? Right. Yes, good decision. She was facing me. I really made that hard for her because she was facing me. I asked for it, but she was facing, the wrong way. She turned, she saw that wing and thought, oh, and then she thought, what do? Right. She said, my brain hurts now. Ready? Right. Yes, good girl. It is taxing on their brain, so I'm going to end there because it is a hard session for them. Good girl. But she's done fantastic. So that's your foundations. Directionals is something you need to keep repeating and working on all through your dog's career and in different contexts, but that's more advanced training. We'll talk about that later. But this is your basic foundation levels. Hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video, and I hope it's given you some ideas of what to do in your training. And if you have, good girl, you might like to follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe by click the bell icon to notify you when there's new videos coming out. And you can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.